Well, hello, everybody. What a momentous occasion. We're finishing our journey of live action cinematic Kryptonians, Supermans with Justice League. I'm your host, DJ Woldridge. With me, as always, is Sal. Hey, Sal.
Hello. Should we also watch the last few seconds of Black Adam?
Should we also, which were not bad. It was one of those, like, there in this movie has some of them. There are moments where when you let Henry Cavill play Superman, he's a good one.
Yeah. He's just the material keeps getting in the way of everybody.
Yeah, oh man. Okay, so we're gonna dive into this. So little stuff up top, of course, as always. If you would like me to read your comment on air, you can do that through the super chat. The super chats also support this show, help make shows like this happen. Stay tuned to the end. We're gonna be talking about the future of Krypton Academy now that we're through the live action theatrical movies. We got some plans for that. So let's get into the Justice League of it all. I feel like I've got some controversial thoughts up at the top.
I may be able to echo those. We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see. Because here's what I'm going to say. I like this movie. So this is the one version we watched is the Justice League, the Joss Whedon cut of the film. Because I ain't sitting through 4 hours of that.
I can't.
Here's the most damning thing I'll say about the Snyder Cut. Wow, right off the top, I'm going to get this right off the top. Here's the most damning thing I want to say about the Snyder Cut is I did watch, because I remember having strong feelings about it when I watched Snyder Cut. And so I fast forward and hit a couple, like, wait, am I remembering right? Is my memory of that correct? And the answer is yes, it was. So even fast forwarding through the movie, Sal.
Yeah.
It is twice as long. The theatrical cut of Justice League is 2 hours. The Snyder Cut is 4 hours. Yeah. I cannot tell you what has been added other than superficial changes. I cannot tell you what has been added to make up 2 more hours of the movie. That's a whole other movie. Yeah. No, all the basic beats are in both movies. How did you accomplish this?
Yeah, it's actually kind of remarkable. Because, you imagine you want more of a movie you love. And you imagine like, oh, do they really is every production like this where they shoot we're going to shoot 5 hours of movie?
Yeah.
And then we just cut it down to an hour and a half. Like there's no way that's how it normally works.
Yes.
Well, and with this, I don't know. I mean, there's that whole extended sequence. There's a whole war. There's a whole Lord of the Rings opening to the Zack Snyder cut that is not in this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So the openings of different scenes. In this, I do think this edit. We'll get into the production because the actual production of this movie is more interesting than the movie itself.
Yes.
But I think you can argue that this movie would benefit from giving certain scenes room to breathe, and scenes have room to breathe. There's whole scenes with Iris. There's scenes with Willem Dafoe. It was whoever his character was in the
Volko.
Sure, that stuff's there, but it's like that's not 4 hours worth of stuff. There's a whole scene where Cyborg gives money to a poor person. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, how is
there's a lot more Joe Morton too. There's a lot more Joe Morton, Miles Dyson in this, where he has something to do.
That is true. And they inexplicably in the Snyder Cut kill him off. And this was at the time where they're like, we're going to do a Cyborg movie. You're going to kill off the Cyborg's one supporting character? He's got outside of the Titans, he's got one, and you're going to kill him off before his movie? Get out of here. Anyway, so I think you've given me a great place to start. Let's start in some of the production stuff. I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Yeah.
But like all of these movies, every single one we've been talking about, they've been wanting to do Justice League forever, right?
Yeah.
Everything forever. I mean, since Spider-Man, it was like, oh, super movies make money. Let's do a Justice League movie. All the way back in 2007, they hired a couple to write scripts for it. And the news about that came out at the same time as Joss Whedon's long developed Wonder Woman film was canceled. That's right. Joss Whedon was going to make a Wonder Woman movie. As well as The Flash, which was going to be written and directed by David S. Goyer. Interesting.
Another bullet dodged. Although, is it could things be worse than the Flash we got? I don't know.
That's a great point. That's actually a really good point. Jason Reitman was the original first pick to do the Justice League movie, and I think his instincts are good enough to be like, I'm not going to do a big budget. That's not me, gang. I'm not the big budget blockbuster guy. And like, that's you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That is evident in your Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah. You're not wrong. So then, of course, it went to George Miller there with his Justice League Mortal thing. I'm not going to get into all that. Needless to say, there's a writer's strike, and then Australia was like, you don't have enough Australian actors in it, so we don't want your money. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I want to say one thing about that movie. Please. I bet it would have been terrible, and I wish it exists.
Yeah, do you think? Well, it's the funny thing of, and that's something I try to remind myself with all these bad movies we've been covering. There, in some ways, there is some value in the artifact of it.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about stuff like Justice League Mortal or Superman Lives, it's like, yeah, that probably right now both exist in this primordial state of, in my mind, they can be anything I want them to be. They can be the best version of that, but they probably wouldn't have been Superman 5 by any of these.
No,
but
the Johnny Depp, Josh Hartnett, Batman versus Superman movie. Like,
no. But then it's like, but I do kind of wish I had that artifact. I kind of do wish I had it.
Yeah, I would love a plethora of abandoned DC movies that didn't get made. For every one steal, we miss out on an entire Justice League. It's true. I would love to have that. But like the artifact, as you put it, is exactly the way it is. We old browncoats would have loved more Firefly, and all it would have done is just gotten worse.
Yeah.
And worse and worse. If you just watch Serenity, you're like, oh, that's the direction you were going in? Pass.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. I also should note that's a good touch on the Joss Whedon of it all. I do have positive things to say about this movie. They in no way reflect Joss Whedon as a person who sounds like a real dick. He sounds like allegedly real dick Joss Whedon.
Not surprised.
And he's in movie jail, and it sounds like he deserves to be there. And we'll see if we ever let him out again. I don't know. I'm not.
He'll come out. He'll make more. His time will come again.
I will say he doesn't always have the worst writers. We're gonna get into it. There's decisions. Here's the thing. I'm all over the place today. Sorry, guys. I'm all over the place today. But we're still in the phase, and I mentioned this for both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Where when this movie came out, I'm still rooting for this. I'm like, maybe can we pull this out, gang?
Mm-hmm.
And there are more at the time. Now I can watch and be like, yeah, this movie's a mess. But at the time, there were more glimmers of hope. Like, what if Superman had a personality? I'm like, yeah, okay, that's the right direction, gang. And well, specifically when we get to the post-credit scenes, that was the first real sign of like, hey, we actually have a vague interest in giving you what you actually want.
Yeah. And also, like, we don't know everything about every actor yet. So, like, if a character has a lot of personality and a lot of fun interactions, it's like, oh, I kind of like this. I hope there's more. There's less
active disdain for the type of movies that I want these to be than the previous two movies or these characters and how they should be. Anyway.
Yes.
I'm still getting ahead of myself. Okay, so we're going to leap over the whole George Miller Justice League Mortal saga. And then, because this whole production. Oh, okay. So as we all know, this Justice League had a troubled production. During filming, it was reported that rewrites by Jeff Johns caused issues with Chris Terrio and the Warner Brothers execs. WB was unsatisfied with the film shaping up under Snyder due to negative feedback for the theatrical version of Batman v Superman. Maybe you should have thought of that before. This came out a year after Batman v Superman. That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So Wonder Woman. So they held a writer summit with Joss Whedon, Wonder Woman writer Alan Heinberg, Seth Grahame-Smith, who's one of those dudes who's not. His name kept popping up, and I'm like, who is this guy? That he was supposed to do the Flash movie. He was supposed to do the Green Lantern show. Here's why they kept trying to make him a thing. I didn't know why they kept trying to make him a thing, and it never worked out. Here's why they kept trying to make him a thing. He wrote 2 hit novels, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And off of the strength of those properties, Sal, the studios kept being like, this is our guy.
This is the guy. This is the guy. I don't know if you've seen Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. A title that would have been an amazing comic book. Maybe it was. I don't recall.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I've heard the only word I've ever heard about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is you can skip it. That's it. No one said it's the worst thing ever.
And I think
it's literally you can skip it.
And I think the movie was directed by the guy that did Wanted, so it's probably really stylistic or whatever. But that's the type of book title that is AI slop on Amazon self-publishing right now. Like that's whatever. Anyway, sorry, I don't need to. It's just I just finally figured out where this guy came from, and it blew my mind. Okay, so in 2017, Snyder stepped down, and that's when and we'll touch on this briefly, but it is heavier, and that's not the tone of the show. And partially due to the fact of the suicide of his daughter Autumn, which is tragic and horrible.
Absolutely.
So then Joss Whedon was brought in to do reshoots, and we get to the infamous, at the time that they were doing the reshoots, Henry Cavill had a mustache because he was filming Mission Impossible Fallout. And he was contractually obligated to keep the mustache. And so Christopher
Which
McQuarrie,
I think is an FU, right? Like that was deliberate. They did that to screw them.
Here's the thing.
You could grow a mustache or get a fake one.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So Christopher McQuarrie was like, okay, if you need him to shave, you need to compensate my production because it's going to cost my production team $3 million to CG in a mustache. And I should note, it is easier to CG on a mustache than it is to CG away a mustache. And and there was a lot of debate around it until the Warner Brothers put their foot down. Oh no, it was the Paramount exec. I thought it was the Warner Brothers execs. Excuse me, because I thought the Warner Brothers execs were like, no, we're not gonna spend the money. I'm like, dude, $3 million is a drop in the bucket for this production at this point. Spend the money, man. Spend the money.
But
no, it was the Paramount exec. This is the FU, Sal. The Paramount execs were like, no, we're not gonna make him shave his mustache. And I'm going to say in Cavill's defense, if I had to choose between putting my horse in front of Justice League or Mission Impossible Fallout, arguably the best Mission Impossible movie, Mission Impossible is the right choice.
Mission Impossible. It's already a celebrated franchise. There's no controversy about that thing. I'm new. It's exciting. I got I'm going to start doing, I'm going to pioneer the cocking of your arms.
Yep. That's the call. That's it. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, poor Cavill. Cavill makes good decisions. It's the people around Cavill. It's the studios around Cavill that really hurt him.
Kevin Tsujihara, who was the Warner Brothers CEO at the time, mandated the movie be 2 hours, which is why it's like almost exactly 2 hours. And the company also did not opt to delay the film's release, despite the fact that there had been numerous problems in post-production, so that the executives would receive their cash bonuses before the company's merger with AT&T.
Okay, now putting that aside for a second, I don't think 6 months, I don't think 3 months would have saved this movie. There's nothing you could change about this movie that would have made it better. It's just, it is what it is. It's a bunch of action figures chasing after a box.
Which is a lot of the superhero movie. It's I think the watching this movie now, I think that there's a lot of flaws with this movie. I think there's a lot of flaws in this movie at a genetic level. There's a lot of flaws in this movie that trace back to Man of Steel. You know what
100%.
I mean?
Yeah, just the tone.
Tone. But that said, if you just wanted to make this movie the best version of this movie, I understand the Warner Brothers instincts of, listen, Joss Whedon, Captain, and the 2 Avengers movies, and one of them's good. And one of them's real good. One of them's, you know what I mean? Like, and the problem is, it became so clear, especially when I went and watched scenes from the Snyder Cut for this. It was like, the problem is Zack Snyder, as a filmmaker, at least with these DC movies, makes some deeply, deeply silly decisions. But what makes them work is he does them with a bone deep conviction.
That's right.
So when you bring in somebody else who does not have that conviction, you know what I mean? It really like, and also if you take because I can say this with confidence, the Snyder version looks way better. Like the color grading and all that, it just looks better than this one. And so when you bring that kind of like Marvel flat TV aesthetic to some really boneheaded, because there was, when I was watching this, I'm like, oh, that's silly. And then I went to the Snyder Cut. I'm like, oh, this is in the Snyder. This is a silly decision that was in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
It's just met with the tonal whiplash. So it doesn't come across with this cohesive vibe.
Right.
So it feels like a mess. And at the time I made the argument that, like, I don't know that this is any worse than any mid-tier Marvel movie. I don't know that I would stand by that conviction now. Although I will say, since this movie's come out, since Endgame's come out, there have definitely been Marvel movies that are as bad or worse than this.
100%. I agree with you. Yeah, watching this was not the chore that I have experienced watching some Marvel movies or shows for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, like, I wish that they had progressed with this, that this movie is better than such and such. It's just, I found and it could be just my lack of familiarity. Like, I saw this in theaters, and then I saw the Snyder Cut, and then that's the end of it. Like, that's as many times as I've seen that movie. And I'm like, maybe it's my lack of familiarity, but there are scenes where I'm like, this is kind of fun. And it is also fun to watch, like, there's a very Joss Whedon scene that they add that's clearly not from the Snyder Cut, like later, where it's like Bruce in his armor and he's talking to Diana. And I'm like, it's just such a, like, we just put up 4 walls, 3 walls and move on. And I'm like, this is a fun scene that, like, feels like a Joss Whedon scene from TV. And, you know, I'm like, I remember thinking, wow, this looks like a TV scene. Yeah. But also I'm like, but I like watching Batman and Wonder Woman interacting with each other.
Dude, that was, I think, another thing that kind of, like, helped me when I first saw it. It was like, there's still that novelty of, like, it's finally the Justice League, man.
Yeah.
And there is elements of, like, and we'll get into them. There's specific
and a Titan.
And a Titan. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the other genetic flaws. And, like, why the new 52 lineup? The new 52 lineup sucks, man. It's just not a good Cyborg's great. He should be on the Titans. He's a Titans character. Like,
I don't 100% a Titan. And it's like, would a fully CG man be more expensive than a guy who occasionally makes green constructs?
And also, why Aquaman? Why
Aquaman?
And this is me saying this, acknowledging that one of the few DC movies that I unabashedly really enjoy is that first Aquaman movie. I think the first Aquaman movie rips. It's a lot of fun. But why? Why Aquaman in your first? Why?
Yeah,
like,
it's not even like the movie came out, because, like, the movie did well. I think it made $1 billion, if not.
The movie did really well, and that's one of the other ones where, like, you know, normally my argument, like, we've said this, I've said this on multiple things. When people are like, they should have done each character first, I'm like, I actually don't think you needed to do that. I think a more capable writer could have introduced all these characters in one movie. We've done it before. But I will say, put Aquaman before this, because the Amazons, it's the 3 kingdoms, the kingdom of men, the Amazons, and the Atlanteans. Do the Atlanteans prior to this. And also, like Sal just mentioned, that movie made $1 billion. Here's the last thing I want to say with the production stuff. So people were beating their drums. Snyder Cut exists. Zack Snyder whipping his fans into a frenzy over the Snyder Cut exists. Well, if it exists, as in it's ready to go, why did it cost an extra $70 million to get it done, to put on Max? Yeah. $70 million to finish. That's a whole other movie.
That's egregious. That is a full other movie. That's how much Black Widow should have cost. Like, that's a whole other entry in the franchise.
Yeah,
that's a Blue Beetle.
That is a Blue Beetle. Who, if you wanted a young character on your Justice League, I think Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle is a better choice than Cyborg. That's my stance on that. But
agreed.
Okay, so let's get into it. This movie is real quick. I will say real quick. I do want to mention dangerboycomic.com. If you haven't pre-ordered, if you haven't missed the Kickstarter, want to pre-order my comic, we have letters are complete. We've got colors for the first half. It's coming together. I need to post some more of what Sean's doing. It's incredible stuff. I'm so proud of this book. I think you're going to love it. Technically, it is a new month, so I should be doing a new charity this month. I didn't have a chance to pick one, but bad news for the world. There's still a lot of conflict in it, and it's still a lot of poor children that don't deserve to be hurt in that conflict, being hurt in those conflicts. So if you want to help kids that are caught in conflicts that are randomly generated by the people we put in charge, go to childreninconflict.org and throw your support there, and also try and do stuff in your community, because as great as it is to give to charity, it's even more important to try and be active in your own community, especially now. Anyway, okay.
Yep.
Here's another. So now I transitioned for that to looking at my notes, and the first thing that popped right into my face out was Steppenwolf. That's another. Steppenwolf is your villain, is the villain for your first Justice League movie. Not Starro, not Despero, not Brainiac. Fucking Steppenwolf. God damn it! What is wrong with
he wants to go full New Gods. He wants to get to Darkseid. Darkseid is their thing. I don't know honestly who pitched it harder. Like, I don't know if Warner Brothers like, we need a Thanos, or if Zack Snyder's like, Darkseid is the toughest.
Yeah,
we need Darkseid. And I don't know. It could be either one. It could be just a match made in heaven where Zack Snyder's like, we need the toughest, and and Warner Brothers like, we need a Thanos, and they were like, oh my god, you got chocolate on my peanut butter. Like, I feel like that's what happened.
That Predator meme with the hands joined, like
two terrible ideas.
Yeah, well, Darkseid is the toughest unless he interacts with one random god from Earth. Anyway, we'll get into that. That's a Snyder Cut poll. We do have some super chats. Apparently, Goyer wanted Ryan Reynolds for Flash. I will say that I remember at the time it was Ryan Reynolds or Bradley Cooper, and even at the time, I think that was also true for Green Lantern. It was Ryan Reynolds or Bradley Cooper. And at the time, I would say for both, Bradley Cooper. Cooper.
Oh, Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, like, I don't know. I think my first introduction to him was probably the A-Team, which
it holds up. Was that before Hangover?
No, it was after.
Okay, yeah. See, for me, it was Hangover, and even then, I'm like, yeah, this guy could do a Flash or a Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Instead, he's a raccoon.
He is a raccoon. Reportedly, Jor-El. I don't know. That's just the word I hear on the street.
That's fine with me. Yeah. He is a great raccoon, by the way.
He is a great raccoon. Also, this is going to be so random. Anybody who watches Righteous Gemstones, the comedy on Max, the 4th season begins with a flashback that takes place during the Civil War, and he plays the relative of one of the main characters. It's brilliant. That I would say season 4 of Righteous Gemstones is fine. That episode is brilliant. Anyway, and he's great in it. All right. Also, Unpheasant 1, the lighting in this movie makes the BVS Batman suit look bad. It does. That is true. That is true. And again, that's one thing. It is a good when you watch this in the Snyder Cut, you're like, oh yeah. So part of this is just the way Snyder's color grading and stuff like that makes stuff not look like trash. Okay.
Yep.
So we open this movie, this version of the movie, the theatrical cut version of the movie, we open with, right off the bat. Okay. So this is the kids with a cell phone interviewing Superman. And right off the bat, it's one of those, you should have ponied up for that mustache.
By the way, I loved this idea.
Yep. 100. This scene, Sal, is the best up to this moment. It is it's the best Superman scene in this version of the franchise.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it, and it was so jarring because I remember being in the theater. I didn't pay attention to any of the mustache stuff when I was watching it. Like, I heard the audience like losing their minds, not because they were excited to see Superman, but because of how jarringly weird it looked.
Yeah,
people were like, "Oh," like people were upset.
Yeah.
Around me, it was weird.
But like, as a Superman fan, it's like he's talking to kids. He's like, it is supposed to look, because it flows. It means hope, but it looks like an S because it flows. Yeah. And then it ends with that moment of like, and this is and again, I'm not going to comment on Joss Whedon as a person, but it's like, this is the stuff that he's good at, because they ask him, "What's your favorite thing about Earth?" And he goes to think about it, and you cut, and I'm like, those are good instincts, man. Like, that's a good, especially this is a Superman show. I'm a Superman fan. It's like, it's like red meat for me.
It's a great moment.
And I think that's another. So for people who are like, wait, you're going to you prefer this version of the Snyder Cut version? Two things. One, 2 hours of a bad movie don't make a better movie. And two, this movie on just a fundamental level understands Superman better than any of the Snyder movies. Yes. And we'll get into that more, because there's specific scenes that it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have in my note, this is my very next note, Sal. I actually think this Batman sequence, as campy as it is better than anything in BVS 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, it's a sequence. It's Holt McCallany, I think is the actor's name. He was in Mindhunter. He's great. He was in there's a movie. What was the movie called? Lights Out. It was one season boxing drama on FX. He was great in it. Anyway, he plays a burglar that Batman captures, that he's using their fear to summon the parademons. And because this movie, unlike the Snyder Cut, feels the need to like lay out what everybody's trying to do. That's the one thing for people who are like, no, the Snyder Cut's better because it flushes everything out. not one. There's one egregious example. They don't really like. Nobody explains why anybody's doing what they're doing. Like they just we heard maybe Snyder Darkseid's coming, as opposed to this like parademons are showing up. The symbol's showing up. What is this? We actually lay out. Here's what we're looking for, and here's what we're doing.
Yeah. I will say every single scene in Gotham looks like a soundstage.
Yes.
Like more, it looks more like a soundstage than the soundstages in Batman 89.
Yeah.
Or Ninja Turtles. Like, where it's like, you just built a roof and then put a big picture in the back. And it could be just the CG sky where it's like, it just doesn't work. They didn't meld the colors. I don't know. It just looks really fake.
And that might have been the thing of like, if you did postpone, give your CG team a little bit more time to zhuzh it up, baby. I think the most egregious example, because this is one that I 100% give the Snyder Cut. Steppenwolf looks way better. Steppenwolf looks way better in the Snyder Cut than he does.
Yes, he does.
He looks like trash in this version.
He looks really weird in this version, and I don't like either design, but he does technically look better. He looks like a transformer in the Snyder Cut version. True. Like everything looks like a transformer, and I guess just they're like, but it looks so good, and I'm like, it looks real. That doesn't mean it looks good.
Yep. There is a difference. So then. Oh yeah, we get a montage of everybody being sad that Superman's dead. Again, still a little unclear why. Based on what we've seen, based on what we've seen Superman do in this universe, why people would be sad.
I don't know.
Unless he personally saved you individually. I think my instinct would be like, Superman, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, good thing that problem solved itself.
Exactly. So then Tywin Lannister shows up to do a terrorism, and he's stopped by Wonder Woman. The two things that stood out to me in this is I think in the Snyder version, I think it's Junkie XL. I don't think Hans Zimmer showed back up for the Snyder Cut. In the Joss Whedon version, it's Danny Elfman. And under most conditions, I'd be like, well, if you can get Danny Elfman, you get that. This is one of those tonal dissonant things where he's like little horn, and it doesn't work for Snyder's direct. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It makes it too campy.
It doesn't work in any way. It doesn't work because of the tone, and also you need to not use everyone's theme. Like you can't use Danny Elfman's Batman theme for this Batman. You can't use Superman for this Superman. Like it doesn't work. And when they try, it just makes the movie that much more odd.
Yeah, and especially since this Superman has a theme. You know what I mean? He has a theme that in this movie uses it.
He does have a theme.
And so it's like this I actually don't know if Ben Batfleck has a theme that I would recognize in this, but Superman does.
No way.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like if you introduced in the Batman Part 2, they introduced the Tim Burton one. It's like I love the Tim Burton Batman theme. This Batman has a theme that also rips pretty hard, actually. So
yeah. Well, they used the Tim Burton theme in this movie, and it's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
It would be as weird as if they used the Hans Zimmer theme.
Yeah.
From Nolan.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's just one of those things. I will say the other thing that stood out to me in this scene is it's a good example. If you watch this sequence and the Snyder Cut version of the sequence, it's a good example of what I don't like about Snyder's choices with these characters, because it's just so much meaner. There's just this I don't even know how to describe it, Sal. It's just ugly. It's just because the way Wonder Woman in the Snyder version, she's punching people in the walls, blood is spraying everywhere, and then we get a moment of it when Tywin Lannister. There's a bitchin' moment where he's about ready to shoot everybody, and she blocks all the things. Yeah. That's cool. I don't want to undersell that's cool. I'm sorry. I'm more focused on like the interesting differences in filmmaking decisions. Yes. And she goes to put her bracelets together, and that's the end of the scene in the theatrical cut. In the Snyder Cut, after she's busted people's heads open and everything, stabbed people to death, all that shit, she's facing Tywin Lannister. She puts her bracelets together, and the whole side of the building blows out, and his hat wafts. So she atomized this guy in front of children. Yeah. And then the gall. The very next scene, this is the scene where we show Wonder Woman like, hey, kids, you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And they're like, yeah, we're great, Wonder Woman. We just saw you murder a room of guys. Yeah. But yeah, we're fine. And then this one girl's like, Wonder Woman, this is in the Snyder Cut. Wonder Woman, can I be you when I grow up? And she's like, you can be anything you want to be. Wink. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's weird. It's like, it rings hollow. Like it feels like it's making fun of you. And I'm like,
And so it's just those little decisions, and I think that's my overall sense of the Snyder Cut's just a great example of all these movies. Is that there's just this ugliness to underneath that I think undermines what I care about of the characters.
Yeah. Well, and the ugliness also, it's a fundamental disagreement between like what you want out of your superheroes. What you see as ugly, his fans see as like empowering and cool. Like they want their superheroes to show up, murder anyone who does what they perceive to be wrong, and then and then be great. And just a lot of people like Superman, Spider-Man, etc., because they want to be, they're like, maybe one day, they're beacons.
Yeah.
I fundamentally believe Snyder is like, you'll never be this.
Yeah.
Just worship them.
Unless you're born exceptional, unless you're one of the exceptional few, you know what I mean? Like that kind of Randian whatever thing he's got going. But and I think you're right. There's that, because I think the argument that the diehards, the Snyder diehards would make like, hey, that guy that she atomized was going to kill children. Right. But it doesn't engage with the reality. Like, yeah, but having Wonder Woman brutalize these people in front of the kids would be traumatizing. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
not if they're cool and strong. If they were strong enough, they just get over it.
And it's it's just such a weird. Anyway, well, there will be more examples later on. In the super chat, and thank you everybody for hopping in the super chat. Trevor, listen to y'all talk about almost wants me to go back and to GL 2017. Almost, I'm with Sal. It's not a hard watch. It's like
it's not a hard watch. It's just not a hard watch.
Like,
I'd watch other things before it, but like if you were like, I'm gonna watch this, it'd be like, yeah, watch it. You'll find scenes where you're like, and then that's it. Like that's all.
If you got an afternoon, you want to hang out, maybe you're a little more DC oriented than Marvel oriented, maybe take a little bit of a gummy. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Is it what I want? Am I hoping for better things in the future? Yes, I am. Please. Dan V900, with the Snyder films, a lot of people don't realize that the massively underperformed financially. Profit wise is broken down by Deadline with a real theatrical profits. It was 42.7 mil for Man of Steel. And then it goes on. BVS was 105. Ant-Man was 103. Yeah, man, if your Batman and Superman movie is barely making more money than Ant-Man, you fucked up. You fucked up. Oh man. In their defense, Marvel earned their goodwill. Oh, we're the bank heist, yada yada. So now we get the scene, and this is much earlier in the Snyder version, where Batman goes to recruit Aquaman. I have in my notes, why is Aquaman even in this movie? I know a lot of people didn't like Batman's little snark in the Joss Whedon cut. I don't dislike it. I like smart ass Batman. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
This is another one I stopped on and brought back, screaming back, a sequence I can't believe I forgot from the Snyder cut, when the girl picks up Aquaman's sweater and starts singing to it. Remember that? And it's the whole song. It's like 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, and that's where the 4 hours comes from. It's from scenes like this, just total naked self-indulgence, where I'm like, we were watching it, like we had a whole crew just sitting there watching, because we're like, if we ever pay for more than, like, we're not watching this again.
Yep.
And just laughing. It was more laughable than when Bruce Wayne gets carried away by magic bats in his dream. In the open. It's just like, what the crap is it? And it's like, if I could, I get it, right? Like, I'm so surprised that like every Zack Snyder movie doesn't have like just a god who appears before everybody and then just delivers them from like, you know what I mean? But only if you're cool and badass. Yeah. Like, it's just like, what is this? Well, also, everyone's very cavalier about Batman's secret identity. I just wanted to say that out loud. Like, everybody is like, dressed like a bat. Everybody, this is Bruce Wayne over here, by the way. Like, it's just like, all right. Yeah, I know that my Aquaman sounds a little bit like Beetlejuice. That sounds about right.
You're right. Hey, listen, we're already in a better universe. We got Jason Momoa playing Lobo, as it was always meant to be, as it was prophesied.
As it was meant to be, as it was prophesized.
And this is another apples and oranges take, because there's a little exchange that I thought was a little weird in the Whedon cut, where it felt sweaty to me, because Aquaman's like, strongest man's the one that stands alone. You ever hear that? And then Batman's like, that's not the saying, and Aquaman's like, whatever, dude, and he goes off. And I felt like if that was just to get to the joke of like, that's not the saying, like it felt like that whole setup existed for Batman to say that's not the saying.
Yeah,
that's in okay. So the part where Aquaman says in the Snyder Cut, where Aquaman says the strongest man's the one that stands alone, and it goes unchallenged.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, well, this is actually something where I agree with. I would feel the need to be like, but that's not the saying. If I'm Joss Whedon, I'm like, if I'm keeping that scene, I need to acknowledge that's not the saying.
Right.
Like that's not. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And that's way better. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just funny to me that's like, oh, so that stupid line is in the movie, and then the movie's stupid enough to not to know that that's not the saying. Like what?
Yeah. No, that's a movie where it's like that's right.
Yeah. Of course, the strongest man stands alone. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And also, I'm going to stand next to these strong guys. Like,
yeah. Cross purposes. And I think whatever. I don't want to keep getting all these rabbit trails, but it's whatever. That's one of the issues with those Snyder movies is that it's theoretically this movie is about coming together to face a common foe. Except as a filmmaker, I don't know about as a person. I cannot comment on Zack Snyder as a person. I've heard nothing but good things about him as a person. I'm just saying as a filmmaker, I don't think he believes that. Having watched his movies, I don't know that he believes that.
I know. That's why all the marketing used the White Stripes' most famous song about uniting.
Yeah.
The button. Oh, we didn't get Seven Nation Army?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, whatever. Oh my god. No, it was Icky Thump. It was fucking Icky, and then it plays Icky Thump, and that was dumb. Don't do a fuck. I love the White Stripes. I like Jack White as a musician a lot. Too, yeah. Don't drop that in your Justice League movie. Come on. No. Okay. What are we doing? So Aquaman swims away. So then we get a scene where Barry goes to visit Dr. Manhattan in prison. It's his dad, whatever. Meanwhile, at the ship in Metropolis, the Silas Stone, Cyborg's dad, runs into a random janitor who's like, I don't know what the implication of this is, Sal. So the janitor was like, hey, Gene, what happened to Victor? Victor's a good guy. And then later, Victor's like, anybody in the lab asking about me? Like, wait, was Victor just hanging around the lab? Like, what was?
I guess.
Was it always every day was take your son to work day? What's the deal with everybody?
Victor, he doesn't have anything to do. I guess
he's just a football star supposed to be going to Gotham U or whatever. He's got nothing better to do than hang out around his dad's lab.
No, hell no. Although in the Snyder Cut, we see him like being a football player again, like. Do some 300 slow-mo shots. Look at this Adonis, this man. Yeah. He's able to throw a ball.
Yeah. I actually do think again, I didn't rewatch the whole Snyder Cut, but I remember watching the first time. It's like I actually think you open with
that
Victor. You open with like Victor's backstory and kind of as your through line. But
now open with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, open with Superman's scream is so loud it goes across the whole planet in slow motion. And Fez one says even in the comics I've been confused if Wonder Woman kills. She kills Maxwell Lord, but she is the Trinity with Batman. Wonder Woman.
They were mad at her for doing that.
Yeah. And Wonder Woman has always existed in this it's a bummer. They don't know what to do with Wonder Woman most of the time. Unfortunately, like Batman and Superman are so crystallized in the public conscious.
Yeah.
That it's clearer, but we've only had 2 live action Wonder Woman movies. It's just not as clear. And unfortunately, it's these ones. The first Wonder Woman's great. I would argue.
Yeah.
Mask Maker, OMG, I found out about the Academies like last week and I've been obsessed. Love the critique. Also, hi Sal, been watching Comic Pop since it was in a little house. Thank you for the joy over the years.
Thank you, Mask Maker.
I like to think about a little house like a tiny house. One of those.
It is.
Nice. Yeah.
It was not quite a tiny house, but it was almost there.
It was a small house. Okay. House. So sorry guys, I keep losing my spot. It's just so many engaging things happen in this movie. So then we get we're back at Cyborg. We go back to the apartment. I don't love Bummer Cyborg, but if they do the thing, they do find a position with him on the team, which is he's kind of like the Thing is in the Fantastic Four. Am I a monster? Am I a man? I don't know. It's again, I think this goes back to what Sal and I've said before. Just remember that hugely popular and beloved Teen Titans cartoon? Yep. Just do that. Cyborg. The Doom Patrol did another really good version of it.
Yes, they did.
The Doom Patrol's the idea of like he's the bridge between like the Justice League heroes and the weirdos at Doom Patrol. That was a good instinct.
Yeah.
So the janitor gets bug napped. I kind of wondered why this all exists. Looking at the Snyder Cut, that actor is in the scene. That scene where he's being tortured by Steppenwolf is in the Snyder Cut. So Joss Whedon just reverse engineered that to be like, hey, this guy's been around.
Yep.
Now we're at Themyscira. Most of this is unaltered from the thing, which makes sense because they do a whole keep away with the mother box. It's a pretty cool sequence.
Yeah, it is.
I do think it's kind of silly that all to like, because I think we can all agree at this point, Gal Gadot's range is limited.
Is limited.
And so every other actor that plays an Amazon has to now do her accent.
Which is really weird. Like, I remember defending it a little bit back in the day, but like, it is sad that is what they had to do, because it's like, so she's so bad, we all got to act as bad as her. We got to bring ourselves, like we got to pitch it. It's like,
yes, that's exactly.
Awful.
Yep. I will say this may be a good point to bring it up. There's not an outfit they put Gal in that she doesn't look just stunning, throughout the whole movie.
That's right.
She looks like Wonder Woman. But
Agreed.
there's some real limitations that now in 2025 I can just be real honest about. And it's like there's just real limitations there.
She's not a very good actor.
No. She'll do fine in those Fast and Furious movies. She's spoilers. She
doesn't have to do it. Yeah.
Anyway, as long as she doesn't steal the spotlight from Vin Diesel, she'll be fine. Steppenwolf shows up to get the mother box. Oh, it's also weird. It's interesting because this came out just after Wonder Woman. It's interesting how all the Amazon's costumes are different, and they're much more sexualized in this movie than they were in Wonder Woman.
Well, who'd have thought?
Yeah, a lot of midriff, a lot of skin exposed. They all the keep away sequence from Steppenwolf. He gets the box anyway.
Yeah.
I hate this version of the mother boxes, by the way. These aren't mother boxes.
Oh my God.
They're not.
These are not mother boxes. I hate that. I hate that they had to that they changed them. I hate that they were cubes. Like, I remember when they were like cool little little machines that you wore on your arm. Like,
if your instinct, it's the transformification of it. If your instinct is to look at any Jack Kirby design and be like, let's make it look like those Michael Bay Transformers movies, you need to be you need to be fired, drummed out of Hollywood.
That's right.
Like, fucking, he's the king, gang. He's the king. Jack the King Kirby.
Yep.
He gets the box. Then we get a scene with Lois and Martha kind of catching up them on mourning their ex and son, respectively. The thing, though, Sal, that I think would make this scene with Martha and Lois work. Let me throw this out to you. See how you feel about it.
Yeah.
What if, in this heart-to-heart, where these two characters that lost somebody close to them, what if, in secret, one of them was actually Martian Manhunter? How does that make you feel?
I don't like that at all. Yeah, I don't think that's cool. I don't think we need it, but let's do it anyway.
Yeah, let's just give it a shot. God damn, that's the shit I think. Whenever everyone's like, "Well, the SnyderCut's better," is it though? Is it? Yeah. Is it better? Or did you just forget the other one? Did you just remember not liking the other one and you kind of forgot? Okay. Now we get the whole Lord of the Rings flashback sequence.
Yep. Which
is another pretty cool. This is this stuff Snyder was born to make. 300, this type of big epic bullshit.
Yeah.
And for those that didn't watch the movie, I don't know why you're watching this, didn't watch the movie. Basically, the kingdoms of men, Atlantis before it sunk, and the Amazons before they were exiled, all team up to take down, in the theatrical version, Steppenwolf.
Yep.
Here's the set. This is where we get the whole setup. The setup in the theatrical version is Steppenwolf's just doing Darkseid's bidding. He's going from planet to planet. He's putting the mother boxes together to make the unity that makes this planet another apocalypse, basically.
Yeah.
And then the kingdoms of men unite and kick Steppenwolf's ass out the door. And then I guess he just waited around until Superman was dead, even though this was millennia ago. There was centuries without a Superman, but whatever. He just waits around till Superman's dead, and then mother boxes call his ass back to Earth.
A
little weak, but that's the setup. Here's the SnyderVerse setup, and I think it's fucking hilarious. The SnyderVerse setup is Earth. Anybody that doesn't know the comics, Darkseid's whole thing is he wants to find an anti-life equation and basically would make the whole universe his slave. That's the long and short of it. Or this is the elevator pitch version of it.
Yeah.
Darkseid finds a planet with anti-life on it. It happens to be Earth. once again. So Darkseid shows up, not Steppenwolf. Darkseid shows up on Earth, and then this is the DC Universe Thanos. He shows up on Earth.
Yep.
Once again, Atlanteans, Amazons, humans, the gods, and an alien Green Lantern show up to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where they're all getting ready in the Snyder version, and you see like Ares, who's massive, but they CG in David Thewlis's face from Wonder Woman. They CG because he played Ares in Wonder Woman. They CG his face on this massive hulking Ares.
That's right.
And he hands Zeus his axe, and Zeus is just like, all right, and he's holding his axe, and he hands it back to Ares because Ares is the biggest and the strongest.
Yeah.
And then the fight's going on. Darkseid's taking people out.
Yeah.
And then fucking Ares comes just jettisoning out of the crowd, takes his axe, buries it into Darkseid's collarbone, almost severs his arm off. Darkseid falls to the ground like a little bitch. Blood's everywhere. His parademons are having to drag his crying ass back to his ship. Everybody's retreating. Oh my God. And they retreat. One of the gods shoots the arrow and blows up the ship. And then the rest of the movie, Darkseid is like, Earth? Never heard of. What are you talking about? I've never been to Earth. Wait, the anti-life is on Earth? Well, I guess we're going to Earth then. The place I've never been. And it's just so fun. Dude, it'd be like fucking if the first time Thanos showed up, fucking Ronan the Acute, pick whatever Z-list Marvel villain, just handed him his ass. And they're like, this is our big bad. You know the guy that just got his jaw broken by Ronan the Accuser? He's going to be the villain in our main Avengers movie.
Yeah. It's a weird like impulse. I don't even understand like what the motivation is. Like, is it because like there's no gods? Like, because there's that line that they put in the trailer where it's like, no defenders, and it's like, is it because Earth has no defenders that now this bitch can kick ass? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one thing that Steppenwolf handed his ass in this flashback. It's like Darkseid's your big guy. And the first time we see him, he's going to get owned by a villain nobody liked.
Yes.
Like, he's going to be like...
He's going to be owned by the weakest act in Wonder Woman. Like,
And David Thewlis is a good actor, but it's like, nobody's like clamoring. And I got to think, Sal, that it's like something like, it's that 300 instinct he's got to bring. Well, the God of War, he's the biggest and he's the strongest. And I don't know what the creative instinct here is. Like, you got to know that sucks, right? On some level, you got to know. You want to see Thanos. I keep doing it. You want to see Darkseid kicking everybody. The first time you see Darkseid should be he murks. You introduce a guy that's like Ares. Ares is the strongest of strong, and then here's a better example. Because the instincts were right. This isn't the first time we saw Thanos, but what's the first thing Thanos does in Infinity War? He hands Hulk his ass.
Yes. And
so now you know, oh, shit's real.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the first time, theoretically, for me, Darkseid, because Darkseid's the biggest of the bad in the DC, the first thing you should see Darkseid do is like flick Superman away like a fly. Like, I don't care about you. And now you're like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Now we do need a whole league of people. All right. I need to catch up on the super chat. Tea time 480. DJ, can you explain why the heroes feel like fascists and how it connects to Alan Moore's views? Well, it doesn't connect to Alan Moore. I think we're talking about a couple different things. Alan Moore is famously an anarchist. If you read Watchmen, that's very clear. His view on superheroes is that the idea is inherently fascist, which I think is a good argument to bring there. And Zack Snyder is so slavishly devoted to them that when you watch his Watchmen, it's like he thinks that fascism's cool. He doesn't see that as a problem. It's what the movie communicates. Exactly. I think an example of it in this movie, I would characterize it more as they very much come across as bullies. We're going to get that I watched the final scene with Superman and Steppenwolf in the Snyder cut.
Yes.
And it's just, he comes in, he pummels Steppenwolf to the ground. Steppenwolf's all the ground. Then Superman uses heat vision to cut off his horn.
Yep.
And then he just keeps punching him. And it's like, that's not, you beat him, man. Like, that's now I feel bad for Steppenwolf. Like, what are we doing?
The line is so like it's so intrinsically not Superman when he shows up and like blocks the axe and he just goes, not impressed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so like transparently lame. Mm-hmm. Like It's pandering. Like, you're being pandered to, right? Like,
as opposed to,
I dream of that moment in the gym.
Yeah. As opposed to in this cut where he goes and saves people. One of my favorite moments in this movie where Batman's trying to catch him up and he's like, hold on, people are in danger. I'll be right back. And I'm like, yeah, baby. And then he comes back and it leads into the same sequence, but it's just done differently. And Superman's line is, oh, is this guy still bothering you? And it's like, it's fun. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Tea time again. Remember when Ray Fisher attacked Gunn for no reason and never addressed it? Also, Aquaman. I don't remember that actually. Also, Aquaman just acts like Wet Lobo. I felt that before the casting. It's not. I mean, it's not the worst take on Aquaman. It's just why even bother? Why are we dealing with this? Cap showing the guns pulling the helicopter is. Then anything in the Snyder strength display scene, talking about the Civil War scene where Cap's holding the helicopter. Yeah. Because Cap feels like a real hero in the MCU. And then Cameron, says, when I first watched this movie, I gave it extra cred because unlike BVS, at least Gotham and Metropolis looked a little different this time around.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Again, I think I was willing to give this movie a little bit more credit too, just because I wanted to win. I just really wanted one. Okay. Bruce recruits Barry, who's big into competitive ice dancing, and he's also a snack hole.
Yeah, fun scene. I liked it a lot. They released the scene like when they were promoting it. Smart move because it's a good scene. It's fun interactions. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I also don't hate his costume in this. It's better than the one he got in his own movie. Yeah. We stopped for a real quick Mercedes ad with the car they're in. Then
it's a crazy looking car.
Yeah. Diana goes to meet up with Cyborg. I have my notes. Ray Fisher's really good in this. It's a bummer that he seemed to have a real bad time. There's this is where I have in my notes. There's not an outfit they put Gal in that she doesn't absolutely slay. But I do find her and Ezra, especially in 2025, distracting. It's hard to watch them. Okay, here's another good apples and oranges. Arthur saves a fisherman. This is kind of real nothing. He just Aquaman saves people in boats, and there's a cool shot where waves are behind him. Ooh. But
good looking stuff.
In the Whedon version, when he saves the fisherman is like, "Oh, there was a monster that attacked me," and Aquaman looks at his hand, and there's green junk on it. And this connects back to a scene with Batman when Batman's trying to recruit him, where they show this weird like mural about the mother boxes. And so the implication is Aquaman connects all these dots and it's like, I better go check on Atlantis.
Yes.
As opposed to the Snyder cut, which I remind you is 4 hours. When Batman goes to recruit Aquaman, no scrawl on the wall. He just says bad guys are coming. When he saves this fisherman, no connection. It's just a scene of him saving a fisherman.
Yeah.
And then for no apparent reason, Aquaman's like, I'm just going to drop in on Atlantis. Oh shit, Steppenwolf's here. And it's like, again, that's why I say, like, well, things are fleshed out. Are they? Because at least in this movie, we as sweaty as it is, and it very much is, as sweaty as it is, at least it does the work to try and explain what is happening and what is motivating people to do the things that they're doing. Oh, what a mess. And this is where we get Steppenwolf throws down with Mira and Arthur. Amber Heard's doing an accent that she does not do in Aquaman, but she does do in the one added scene in Snyder. That was clearly a Snyder note. I need you to do an accent.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, so weird. Now in this version, we get an Eastern European family that will be a through line that I like the idea of, but that never really quite works.
No, it does not. It just keeps reminding you we're going to get there one day, but like, I get it. I appreciate it. It's clearly an addition. Whatever. Yeah.
It's clearly like, hey, what if they actually save people? I know this is anathema to Zack Snyder's vision, but what if they save people that like you actually saw and recognize as people, and we cared about people. I don't, as opposed to an abstract. Here he is lifting a ship. Anyway, so Steppenwolf sets shop in like what is basically Chernobyl. It's a different name or whatever, but it's functionally Chernobyl.
Yep.
Then J. Jonah Jameson turns on the bat signal, and the whole Justice League shows up. There's a bit, I believe this is just in the Whedon cut, where everybody does the Batman thing and they like vanish on him, except the Flash.
I think that's in the other one too.
Is it?
I don't
it's
remember.
Not a bad scene.
I like it a lot. Okay, I don't know if we'll get to it. Ezra Miller's Flash is like a weird Schrodinger's character where like he has the fun, but he says weird shit that doesn't jive with with what the fun he's having.
Yeah.
You know, like he has a whimsical scene with Batman, and then he brings up brunch out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just not it doesn't jive. It's not even funny. He is just choked with non sequiturs.
Yeah.
He just says weird shit. And like that's his impulse, just to say weird stuff every time he has to say a quip. It's like the opposite of Community when they were like, "Oh, Donald Glover is so talented.
Yeah.
That we need a good moment at the end of the scene. We'll just put in the script, and then Donald Glover says something hilarious." Like,
yeah.
It was like, we need a great like button on this scene, and we know that Ezra Miller is the only character, like Flash, the only character who's actually supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
So like, Flash, say something funny, and then he says like, you know, I don't know, like lampshade, and like that's the end of the scene. And Whedon's like, "Well, I'm a reverend," and it's just weird. Yeah,
it definitely feels like a spot where like Whedon feel like he can like throw in his Whedonisms and stuff like that, and especially like you said, he's the only character that's allowed to have fun,
right? Like Cyborg is such a pill the whole movie, and then like he saves the world with Superman. He's like, "My toes hurt," and I'm like, like that is so Whedon.
Yeah.
I don't even understand the physics behind that. The physics,
which theoretically could work if that was the direction of the whole movie, but it's not. And so, and again, it goes back to I think back to that bank heist, because again, I watched both of them, and the Elfman score undercuts the menace of the scene. It makes it feel like a different thing than it was clearly filmed to be. And I think that might be, and maybe this is an ego thing or whatever, but I think I think I would also have the instinct of, I'm hired to make this Justice League movie. I didn't like the other ones. I kind of want to see if I can like salvage this.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element to that is correct. But at the end of the day, you're finishing Zack Snyder's movie and you need to work with what you're given. And so it's like, no, Junkie XL, I like Danny Elfman, but Junkie XL is the guy to score this movie because that's what this movie is. And it's not my... I would have negotiated a deal like, great, I'll salvage this. I'm doing Justice League 2, okay? Yeah. And I'm going to do what I want for Justice League 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or don't take this deal. Don't swallow this poison pill. Okay. So yeah, this is where we get the whole sequence in the what is it? It's a tunnel. The tunnels. Where are we? I don't even know where we are. Okay, some tunnels under an island but it's outside of Gotham. Whatever. This isn't in it. So sorry, gang. I think the Snyder Cut's worse. I understand there's parts of it that are better, but I think it's worse because in the Snyder Cut, what ends up happening is they go to save these hostages that the parademons have taken. And what ends up happening is Cyborg and Flash lead them up a tower or out a tower, and Cyborg's carrying one of them, and then Flash is kind of just buzzing around like, "Hey, can you go faster?" or whatever. As opposed to this version, this is the character stuff that I like a lot because Flash pauses and he's like, "Guys, this is great, but I've never really done. I'm a fast guy. I run in, I push people, I leave. That's my jam."
Yes,
and
exactly.
Batman clicks into like, I've had to train kids before. I've had to do this before. It's a great moment for Batman. It salvages so much of Ben Affleck's Batman where he's like, just save one person.
Yeah.
And Flash is like, then what? He's like, you'll know what to do. And what happens is he saves one person. He's like, oh, I can do this. And he saves, and because he's Flash and he's got super speed, he just zooms in and grabs people. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that's right. That's the right instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joss Whedon undercuts it because he's got that stupid scene where Barry falls on Diana.
Wonder Woman,
yeah. Anyway, so we get the whole big action scene. Batman summons the Nightcrawler, which I can only assume exists for this he had that waiting in his bunker for this very specific scenario.
Yeah.
It's also funny to me how gun oriented most all versions of Batman are. Like sidearms, a little pistol. No. Giant Gatling guns on my vehicles, though. That's okay.
100%. Yeah.
Because the fucking Nightcrawler is heavy loaded. Yeah, there's a whole whatever they fight. Wonder Woman fights Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf has a pretty good line. I don't know if it's in the Snyder Cut where he's basically like, bitch, my axe is still slick from the blood of your sisters. I'm like, that's cold.
Oof.
That's a cold line. That's a cold line. If I were one of them, I'd be pretty pissy about that too. There's another weird. Sorry, Sal. I feel like I'm getting bogged down in the changes. It interests me because in the Snyder cut, when Batman's in his Nightcrawler, I think it's in the trailer too. He's like, my turn.
Yes, sure. Yes.
In this Whedon cut, he says, sorry, I didn't bring a sword. And it's whatever. I just think at least it's something as opposed to like just a throwaway. Like that's a nothing. Why even have him say anything at that point?
I agree. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So Aquaman shows up in the one very specific instance where he could be helpful because Cyborg has a moment. He flies in Nightcrawler. He's like, yeah, rock music plays. Like, I'm Cyborg. This is my moment. And then proceeds to launch a missile at Steppenwolf. And Steppenwolf deflects into the side of the thing and floods the whole time. And then Aquaman shows up because water, and he uses his trident in a way that we've never seen before and never see again since, or he uses it to like deflect the water because we just needed Aquaman in this movie, I guess.
I love when he uses I love this trident's the whole thing, and then in the movie he's like, yeah, you have a trident, but like there's a real big trident.
Yeah. The Aquaman movie first, so this is the same. It's the Aquaman trident, like.
Yeah,
whatever. Then Bruce hatches a little scheme. They've got the human mother box, which I don't know if we explain. I think what they explain is that it was in Victor's grave. I remember. It's funny. Like I remember having that information in my brain, but I didn't see them acknowledge it in this version of the movie or the Snyder version of the movie. So I don't know where I got that information that Victor buried it in his own grave.
Yeah.
Is that much my headcanon? Somebody in the comments. Where did I get that?
Anyway. I don't recall. Yeah. Funny.
So anyway, they've got the box, and Batman's like, hey, so this thing fucked up Victor because it's too much for like a human body. But what if you weren't human? What if you were a god, basically? And then they have an exchange, and I think this is maybe it's in the other one, because again, I just fast forward through it, but I think it's unique to this one, where one woman's like, man, you got to let this go. And I'm like, and Bruce is like, oh, did Steve Trevor tell you that? And then one woman,
I like the scene.
Smacks his ass.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This is a great, I like the scene a lot because he's not wrong. Where he's like, Superman was important and you have been nowhere because your boyfriend died 70 years ago.
Yep.
So don't lecture me.
Yeah. It's a good character moment. This is the stuff Whedon's good at. I don't know if it's in both versions, but this is the shit Whedon's good at.
It ain't that. No, there's no way.
Yeah,
I love when he's like, did Steve Trevor tell you that? And she's like, oh, no.
And it's a great moment because she just puts her hand out and it like lays Bruce out. And it's like,
exactly.
Remember who you're talking to, Bruce. Remember who you're talking to. But anyway, so they go ahead with this because we're not going to have a Justice League movie without Superman. I actually don't hate this explanation for bringing Superman back. I think it works.
No, I agree. No. I love the idea that Batman's like, I've had enough death. I've been responsible for enough death.
Yeah.
We need Superman to beat Steppenwolf. I need to undo a mistake I made.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. Here's I think my favorite change, one of my favorite changes in this version, and why for me as a Superman fan, this is more meaningful. In the whole Snyder Cut, in the whole 4 hours, the justification given for bringing Superman back is he's strongest.
Yeah, he's the biggest.
He punches hardest, and so we need him. And this movie actually takes the time for Bruce to articulate. I think it's to Alfred, because there's 2 scenes in this room that we do where Ben Affleck is not looking his best.
No, he looks really thin. He looks sick.
Yeah, he's not looking his best. That was one of my favorite things, going fast forwarded through the Snyder Cut and getting to that last scene with Martian Manhunter. And I'm like, at least Ben Affleck's looking good. He's looking a little healthier here. He's looking like he's taking better care of himself. Anyway, he says he's talking to Alfred, and he's like, we need Superman. And Alfred's like, I know he's the strongest. Like, that's not the reason.
Yeah.
The reason is he's more human than me. He had a life. He had Lois. He had people that cared about him.
Yeah.
The world needs, he says this line, the world needs Superman. The team needs Clark. And as this little Superman fan heart, I'm like, yeah, baby, that's it. That's the money right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the fucking Snyder Cut. Anyway. So then we get the whole revival of Superman sequence. Flash has to spark the mother box. In the Snyder cut, this is a little bit cooler because he whiffs it and then he reverses time a little bit, which is pretty cool.
But also sets up that he can do that later because he needs to do that later.
And when another sequence is actually pretty cool. Yes. And I would have kept if I would have been like, hey, can we do this? And then the only issue is I think we also get a nightmare vision, and I hate all the nightmare stuff. I think Victor has like a nightmare vision in the Snyder Cut version of it. Anyway, and this is where we get to probably the best sequence in either of these movies, which is Superman versus the Justice League. And specifically, it's every time I'm like, yeah, this is pretty bitchin'. He's awake in both versions, and I actually think this is clever. The robot part. Victor is like, this guy's a problem, and starts going into battle mode without Victor's consent. And he blasts Superman, and Superman's not all there. And so he attacks them, and everybody's dogpiling Superman. And then Flash decides to go around. This moment's so cool. Yeah. And it's the classic wish fulfillment speed. Everything's moving super slowly. You're faster than everything else. And then Superman's eye starts to move and follow the Flash. And this is maybe Ezra's best performance in the movie. His expression is like, wait.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a great moment. That killed the theater. The theater was like, I loved it too. Yeah, no, it was great. He's like, oh no, is this guy? I'm used to just kind of like never being seen and skipping past people. But he's catching up to me. And then he doesn't know what to do, and he like slips, and it's good. It's too bad Cavill looks really fake. But you know, there's that shot of like all of them jumping on him at the same time, and I'm like, nothing looks real. Also, neither does the grass. Like when we cut back to Batman and one car, like one cop car and Batman and just like a lawn.
And that's in the Snyder cut too. In the end of this fight, Bruce shows up. Clark clocks him. He's like, I remember you. And then he pulls him in, and I have mixed feelings on it because like when he pulls him in, he's like, do you bleed? And it's like, and I get the callback, and in some ways it underscores the stupidness of that line in the previous movie. But it's also like, yeah, if he's the one guy, he's literally the one guy on the team that can bleed. Yeah, he does. Right. But as opposed to the Snyder cut where Batman literally just walks out from a cop car and they like look at each other. And it's like, what? Snyder, this is the one thing I give you, dude. Like, you're usually a pretty good stylist, and Batman's just kind of like wanders out from behind a car. Like,
I know.
And that's the one. I don't know if you've noticed this over the years too, Sal, but like the one thing Batman doesn't look good doing is just kind of like walking around. Like he needs to be kind of crouching or swinging, other than the Batman, Batman, where they make a thing out of it. Usually it's like, because there's that scene in The Dark Knight, which I would still argue is the best superhero movie made, where it's Batman, Gordon, and Dent standing on a roof. I'm like, Batman looks weird here.
He does look weird. Yeah. And yet, him standing on that wreckage with like with Rachel Dawes being dead, I'm like, this looks great.
Yeah, exactly. If you get him in like crouching gargoyle pose, that guy's intimidating. But if he's just kind of standing there like, it's like that's a guy in a bat suit.
Yeah.
Anyway. So he sees Bruce. In the Snyder cut, Lois just shows up. She's just in the area and here's what's going on and shows up. In the Whedon cut, they explain, like, they keep calling her the big guns. Like, if we need Superman's off the rails, we call them the big guns, and the big guns are Lois, and she talks him down. She basically what's it in Age of Ultron, like, the sun's getting low. Everybody's favorite scene in Age of Ultron. And then so we get that. They fly off. Meanwhile, they've just left the mother box camped out it crashed on a car. They're not.
I can't believe they just leave it there, and they're like, "Oh, there it is," and they just leave. And I'm like, "Oh,
they're dealing with this," and then someone will just yoinks it, like, "Oh, I guess I'll just take this since none of you seem to care." I think. Wait, actually, you know what? I think in the because I was fast forwarding through it. I think what happens is in the Snyder cut, Silas sees it, takes it back into the lab. He goes to destroy it, but it doesn't work, and he just kills himself, and then Steppenwolf takes it.
Right.
It's some variation of that. You guys can let me know in the comments. Which I guess is just better than the Paradigm's just grabbing it off a car.
But it is quicker and easier if you just do that.
Clark flies Lois to the farm. There's a line here that Snyder notoriously hated because it ended up in the Snyder cut, and he's like, "Wait, I didn't shoot that scene." It's where Lois is like, "Wait, you smell nice," and I get it; it's silly, but also he was just dead, and I do understand the filmmaker instinct of like, "Wait, what state is he in?" Let's get a line in there to be like, "No, he's back. He's good. He's okay."
Yeah, exactly. Can I also point out why does Wonder Woman know his real Kryptonian name?
Great question.
She's just Kal-El, no, and I'm like, I was like, that's. People were like, this is a meme, and I remember being just like, that's what she sounds like when she says anything. Why is this the problem? Kal-El, no. And like people are like, oh, I hate that, and I'm like, she says that shit in everything she says. You can make everything she says a meme, but my issue is, I'm like, why are you calling him Kal-El? He hasn't. No one on this earth does that. They don't even know that name.
And you're gonna right up there is like they keep going, oh, the Kryptonian. Why does that mean anything to anybody? They're gone.
Right. And
they didn't have these powers when they were around.
Yeah, like they were people before they got to Earth. Like, you have no Kryptonians here. Yeah, no, they're not. They're dead. They're on Krypton. Like, what are you talking about?
Also, missed opportunity. Normally I don't like this stuff, but you could have just said that dark-sided Krypton. That's why Krypton's not a thing.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Yeah. Also, can we say Ezra Miller running is awful and weird, and it never makes sense, and it's never explained properly as to like what his motivation was to like throw his hand. Like, I don't know, it's really weird, and he looks like an idiot every time, and I'm tired of like seeing it. It's just
a lot of weird actor instincts over there. Yep. Okay, so Diana, this is where the scene you were talking about, where Diana and Bruce have a heart-to-heart, and Diana has to put a cloak on to hide how pregnant Gal Gadot was in this scene.
By the way, it looks great, and I like that look for Wonder Woman. So like, it's a good-looking cloak, but also what?
It's so weird because it just covers up her back. Because I think the understanding was they let it out in the back to give her more room in the front, and so to cover that up, they gave her the cloak. But it's so like Bruce is in, because Ben Affleck is not in his Batman shape for this scene.
Nope,
he's in his like Under Armour thing. It's like, that makes sense. Diana walking in the room and just putting a cloak to like gently cover her back. You put on a hoodie, man. I don't know. Like, she's been on this earth for a while. Like, anyway, what do they talk about in this thing? Oh, whether they just have a heart-to-heart. It's how she should be a leader, which I think is correct, especially coming out of the fact that the one successful movie this franchise has at this point is the Wonder Woman movie. Saying like, you should lead. It's like, that's great. Clark and Lois have a scene, and it's so funny because this scene actually exists in the Snyder Cut, but I think the lines must be different because he clearly has the CG lip thing going on.
Mm-hmm. You can tell all the reshoots he's in.
Yep, which is unfortunate. We're in our big final number, baby, and we open with Aquaman. Little Whedon can't get out of his own way. Aquaman's sitting on the lasso truth and just doing a full dump about his feelings on that, which is fine. It's just totally weird. It's just weird, and I don't know that it's funny enough to overcome the awkwardness of it.
I do like the lasso truth gag. I'm sad that they do it again in Flash, but I love. I love Momoa's delivery of it. It's just oof.
It's a good use of Momoa. It's a good use of Momoa. It's just another one of those things. Like, why is Aquaman in this movie? How is Aquaman going to help in this fight? Like, what are we?
He's tough. He's a big tough guy.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
He doesn't use any ocean though. It's just too bad. Yeah, just nothing.
Wrong guy. T-Time 480. Miller's Flash is a crappy version of Wally. Also, favorite bat suit? ? For me, it's Pattinson. Maybe he'll be in the DCU if Superman does well enough. Sal, do you have a favorite bat suit?
There's a lot of good ones. I really loved the Affleck bat suit for a while. That was like that was a real peak for me. I also enjoy the Pattinson suit, though I think it's a little Dark Knighty. Like, I think there's too much crap all over it. Like, I love it and I love the silhouette, but I also feel like you don't need it to look. You don't need the Ezra Miller strings and stuff. Like, you could just
I think I like the Pattinson suit narratively, in that it really feels like this is something this guy just put together.
Yes.
But it's like, if I were to pick just on my favorite suit, I do kind of I like how sleek the Dark Knight suit is, but there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I think I actually like the Begins suit because it's just that black. I like the bat symbol, the black on black bat symbol. I liked it since Batman Forever when he had it in the last scene. Val Kilmer's Batman had it in the scene. So I like that they brought it back in Begins. But I do know it's like bulky, and I know Christian Bale hated wearing it because it gave him a massive headache. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get the idealized bat suit. Dan V900, Snyder just cares more about Batman. His JL plans have Batman sacrifice himself to defeat Darkseid, so you could get one Batfleck film if it ever happened. The Dead Robin was Dick. Snyder and Didio would get along. I don't. Yeah, he was also supposed to end up with Lois and have a kid with Lois. I'm glad we didn't get those movies. 2x480. I think what makes Pattinson's suit great is that it feels more breathable or more movable, and it looks cool even behind the scenes.
Yes.
All right. Now we're in it, gang. We're in this final fight. Batman's going to distract. We set up earlier. There's a sound that sets the parademons off. Yeah. I don't know that we needed that, but anyway, whatever. He's going to use it to distract the parademons, and the Justice League is like, haha, no, it's not. We're going to show up and help you anyway, even though we're supposed to be doing other things right now. And they fight a bunch of parademons. Superman shows up, and this is where we get the scene that I really like, where he's like, civilians, and Batman's like, flashes are on it. He's like,
no.
I need to step in there. And you get the sequence where Flash is pushing a truck, the family from earlier. He's pushing the truck out of the way, and then he looks over, and Superman's got a whole building, which the structure of that building wouldn't hold, but that's fine.
Nope, but it's funny, and that's what. And Whedon's like, I value that more than logic, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I also thought it was funny when I first saw it.
I think, and maybe that's the part of the issue is that Whedon's instinct is, and this is not necessarily wrong instinct, is part of the DC universe is more larger than life than the Marvel universe. So it should be more fun. It should be kind of like Super Friends and stuff like that, where Superman's carrying a building, which you can make an argument and make that Justice League movie. That's just not what you had to work with. And so it makes it feel weird when you put those things in there. Like that's definitely not what Snyder was doing.
No.
So it's like if you took if you cut in scenes from Super Friends in the Snyder movie, and it's like, well,
that doesn't fit.
That doesn't work. Okay. And so this is where we get the bit where Superman flies down and he punches Steppenwolf, and in the Snyder version, he just keeps he just brutalizes Steppenwolf. Like it's not even fair. And then they need to pull the boxes apart. And in the Snyder cut, there's a whole scene where Flash, I think he has to charge the boxes again. I don't actually remember the setup, but what ends up happening is he fucks it up. The unity happens. Everybody gets cooked. And then he rewinds time to save the day. It's actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. It's a great scene. Yeah.
And then that cuts immediately to, which I don't like when you do this, where you have your climactic moment now, and also this thing, and then the climactic moment. But it's a moment for Victor where the boxes are also space witches, and they're like, Victor, you could be with your family again. You're alone. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not alone, which is a cool moment that if the rest of the movie, that like Whedon's movie, I think sets up more than the Snyder version of the movie sets up.
Yes.
Anyway, so in this version, him and Superman, and I like the moment where he's like, Superman. He's like, yeah, what are we doing? And I'm like, yeah, it's Superman, guys. It's actually him for once. And they pull it apart, and there's a big explosion. And you're right about the Vic.
They laugh and they have fun. And
I do like them laughing, and I like them because it's a cool moment that it says more about Vic, because Vic is actually for once happy to be alive.
Yeah.
His Superman's stoked to be back, and like that kind of infects Victor. Like, yeah, maybe I should
appreciate this. Yeah, it's nice.
It's not the worst. Anyway,
no, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
We get a group shot of the Justice League on top of the nuclear.
They're on top of a thing. Maybe it's a tower. I don't remember.
Nuclear silo. What do we call those things? Anyway, whatever. They're on top of it. And in the Snyder version, Superman's in that stupid fucking. The first time we see the Justice
black
League,
suit, and I'm like,
black suit, like.
What is up with this black suit that they keep like in his offensive Richard Donner homage sequence from the Snyder cut, where I'm like, but it's a black suit.
And that's one of those things, like, at least in the Whedon cut, when he opens his shirt, it's the red, blue, and yellow S, baby. Like, that's in the Snyder cut, it's the black S. I'm like, wait, so that's just his suit now?
That's just his suit now. He's just
That's
darker.
lame.
I found my entry point. I figured it out. What I want to do with Superman, make him dark.
And also, the cape doesn't work with the black suit.
No.
Yeah, the cape doesn't work, in my opinion. He needs the mullet, and he needs the whatever. So, Cyborg says "Booyah," which Ray Fisher hated, but I personally am glad it's there.
Yeah, it's there for people who liked the cartoon. I love that he hated it so much. Like, you could see on his face how miserable he is.
Yeah. He's like, "Don't make me say it." Did you see they're going to do the same thing with Clobber Time?
Yes, I saw that.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. And it's like, well, of course you're going to build to him saying that, but did we need that for Clobber Time?
Right, but like
Clobber Time.
How about he just like saying it? I don't know. How about he came up with it?
Yeah.
Not in this movie. In this movie, it's like the marketing team made up with it. That'd be silly.
Yeah, that's only in the comics, kids. Don't do that fucking shit. Don't be embarrassed of the thing you're making. God damn it! I thought we were past this. Anyway,
we're not.
We never will be.
That's right.
Oh, then we get a moment that movie writers love to do, where a reporter narrates the article they're writing, an article that would never be published in any paper ever.
Yes.
Darkness, the true darkness, Pulitzer-winning Lois Lane writes.
What?
They should do in this. I wouldn't put past Whedon doing this. They should have that whole monologue about darkness, and then the next scene is Lois hands it to Perry, and he's like, "Paper shredder." Like, no, I'm not publishing this.
Yeah.
What is this?
Like, the darkness, Lois. You have a Pulitzer. Get out of here. Rewrite this.
Oh my god. Barry, it's a montage of all the characters. Barry gets a job at a crime lab, the worst job in a crime lab. I don't know what that is. Also, what was he doing when he got his powers? I'm sure they showed us in Flash, but I've purposefully erased that movie from my memory.
Yes, they showed us.
I've ejected that entire movie as much as I can from memory.
Good. Yeah.
And then
I like that scene, by the way. I love the delivery by Dr. Manhattan where he says, "Look at you go." I was like,
he's a good actor.
Nice.
Billy Crudup's
that was a good scene. And it's a good button, like where we only needed the one scene where he's like, "Don't come here anymore.
Yep.
Let me go. I have a job and I can do both." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice. Look at that."
Yeah. Bummed that he wasn't able to return for the Flash movie, but again, I've erased it from my memory. So for all I know, he is in it.
Right.
We get 2 post-credit scenes. And these are ones that, once again, I think they're better. There's no post-credit scene in the Snyder Cut, but they represent certain
But it's 5 hours long.
Yeah, exactly. and again, at least this was, as a fan of these characters in the comics, it was the first time they're like, hey, we might actually give you what you want.
Yeah.
And the first one is, and it looks bad. It looks bad, but it's still, the fan in me loves that it exists. Mm-hmm. It's a scene with Flash, and it's Superman and Flash racing, Sal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, I don't care that Superman looks bad. It's what I want.
Yep. I had the exact same reaction too. I was like, this looks horrible, and I also am so thrilled that it's in it. Like, I really appreciated it.
And we get the cute moment where like, we're going to race to the Pacific Ocean, and Superman's like, they're facing the wrong way.
It's that way. We skipped past the I bought the bank scene.
Oh yeah, and this is in the both versions. Bruce Wayne, there's a whole running plot line about Martha has to sell the farm, and then Bruce, because she couldn't pay the bills, and then Bruce buys the bank so they get the farm back. And it's like, hey, we're pals now.
There's a scene we see Martha and Lois, and they're loading things up, and they're looking at these 2 men who are not doing anything to help them.
Yep.
And I'm like, so Bruce is gonna bang Martha, right?
I mean, listen.
He's like, I'm gonna be your new dad. Like, you got Lois over there, and let's die,
Yeah, that
come on,
so fucking funny. I love that. If Bruce Wayne was Clark Kent's stepdad, somebody get on that original, that OGN, that like one-shot Elseworlds. Yeah, that's so funny,
right?
And if I'm Bruce, come on, man.
Right? Yeah, come on,
Diamond, come on.
I love they're gonna build the Hall of Justice in the middle of like the Palisades of Gotham or whatever.
Yeah, in Wayne Manor. And it's interesting, in the Snyder Cut we get a shot of, we pull out enough on his little like lake house to see that I think the skyline is supposed to be, which is weird,
Yeah.
But there are sister cities. I think the skyline is Metropolis, actually, because I think you see the Daily Planet. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it feels like it should be Gotham, but whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? You see the city skyline, and then you see Wayne Manor's back this way. So like his little lake house is on the same property, and that's what they're going to make the Hall of Justice. Sure.
Yep.
That's never going to happen, so I don't have to worry about.
No, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we don't have to worry
Victor
about
builds that big circle on his chest, which is like, yay!
His costume, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Anything to make him look like less like a Michael Bay Transformer is a good instinct.
Please. Yeah.
Okay. So now we get these post-credit scenes, and we talked about the race one, and the other one is a scene that exists in the Snyder Cut, but it's a setup for the Batman movie where Lex is like, did you know Bruce? He's telling Deathstroke, classic Batman villain, Deathstroke. He's telling him, hey, did you know Bruce Wayne is Batman? Oh, shit. I would not. If that was our post-credit scene, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. The one we got, which I do give a fuck about, because Marvel has been around 15 years at this point or something, and they still haven't done hero team versus villain team.
No,
not once. And so Lex has, and this feels like a very Lex moment. He's like, I hear the heroes over there are all teaming up. Don't you think we should have a league of our own? And I'm like, yes, movie. Yes, I do think that. Yes. Please, Justice League 2.
Yeah.
And especially since the villains in this version of the Justice League were pretty good for the most part.
Yeah. And still alive.
Yeah.
It's also weird, though, that he says a league of our own. Like, he's making a reference to all I can think of is the movie, A League of Their Own. And I'm like, I don't know. This just seems like a weird, it's like, I get it, but also it is a multi-layered reference, but he's not doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, is that Joe Manja, whatever the hell? Like he's like so excited to be Deathstroke and be in Ben Affleck's directed Batman versus Deathstroke movie.
Yep.
And it's never going to happen.
Nope.
And
there was talks for a time that Deathstroke would get his own standalone movie, which I could see working.
Yep.
I think the guy that did the Raid was supposed to do it, which yeah. Why didn't we make that? Let's make that now.
Yeah. But instead, how about we'll never do any of those things? And,
man.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So that's where we end that. I do want to end on our last little bit of, in my notes, I forgot the Snyder Cut. It's that stupid 4:3 ratio, the fucking IMAX ratio. Guess what, Zach? I'm not watching it on IMAX. I'm watching it on my TV.
Yeah. Well, everyone watching it on their TV. They didn't release it in theaters, you jerk.
Yeah. Anyway, the nightmare sequence where Jared Leto's Joker returns. I watched that whole sequence, and it's so fucking funny, Sal, because the setup is like, we need to hurry because Superman could find us at any moment.
Yep.
And Batman's like, hold on, I need to have a one-on-one with my boy Joker here for about 10 minutes.
And I get it, because like we've never seen it. Like, we're never gonna see this. We're literally never gonna see Batman versus Joker in this universe.
Yep.
Here it is.
Yeah. Which is fine, because Jared Leto's Joker sucks.
It's so silly. It's so silly and dumb and awful and like lame. Where he's like, "I'll give you this card, and if you tear up the card, then our truce is over." I'm like, "What is this? Like, what is this?"
Stuff like, he's like, if you kill me, Batman, who's gonna give you a reach around? And then Batman's like, I swear to fucking God, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it's like, fucking, who is this for?
Yeah, I know exactly what it's for. Everyone who likes it. All those likes on the video when it's on YouTube are for them. Like, it's for people who are like, yes, the people who have like Jared Leto's Joker from Suicide Squad as a poster in their room still. Like, yeah,
man. Like, and I think I'm going to say this. I do want to make a distinction. There's a lot of people that enjoy these movies. Fine.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to. I'm not saying you're allowed to enjoy it.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Sal and I are talking about, there's a certain type of fan that gets real mad at us in the comments about this for not liking it.
Yeah, both of them are really pissed, and they're not going to like this episode.
Yeah. And it's like, you guys need to get a personality beyond liking Snyder movies, man. Like, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
there's no hope for you. I can't help you. I'm not going to argue with you, because like that's not what I spend my time doing.
It's not my job. But anyway, so this is the end of our journey through the live action super movies so far. We are getting one very soon that I have high hopes for, cautious optimism for. I've got a few things in the super chat that I want to touch on, but before that, Sal, just real quick, any final thoughts on this journey we've been on.
Yeah, I didn't really touch on any like the things that I really, really enjoyed or had fun with because like we don't have time. And but like I should say that like there were some moments where I was like, this is kind of fun, but overall those moments don't stack up into a movie that also springboard a reality that I want to live in. Like I don't want like 8 movies in this universe after this that are like building towards what they threatened to build towards, especially because like in the Snyder Cut you could tell they're really building towards the nightmare future. Like there's a vision that like I guess Victor has when they're resurrecting Superman where they're like, if we bring back Superman we will cause the dark side future. And I'm just kind of like, that's the direction of this universe, which sucks. And without it, what was their plan? And it's like they didn't have one.
And it's I'm glad to be done with it. I think that the only movies I'll really go to bat for, I was going to rank them. Man, we don't have time for that shit. But like the first Christopher Reeve movie is like the one good one. You know,
and 2 holds up pretty well.
2 is the next one. If you rank them, it's like 1, 2,
and then whatever.
Maybe Supergirl, and then like Superman 4, and then
Superman Returns. I think it's a little better than Superman 4, but still, it's like
mate. And that's the thing. It's like, which turd do I like the most? Man of Steel. Like, because somebody in the comments, what got me thinking about this? Somebody in the comments one was like, still think Man of Steel is my second favorite Superman movie, even there's all these issues. I'm like, wait, is that true? Do I feel the same way? Right? It's like, wow, there's such a steep drop off after Superman 2, man.
No,
and even Superman 2 has some real like.
Grown,
yeah,
some weird moments. I think I like Returns more than Man of Steel, certainly. But Man of Steel is a movie. Like Man of Steel has like Man of Steel isn't directed by a monster or starring any jerks. So you know, whatever.
If you're putting me in a position, if I'm having to choose between Superman Returns and Man of Steel, it's like, well, this is a real Sophie's choice where I don't.
It really is.
I don't want either. I don't want either. Yeah, that's a bummer. As a Superman fan, that's a bummer that there are so few good ones. But there's moments in them, like Superman Returns, Plain Sage.
They all have moments.
Yeah, they all have their moments. I'm excited for the David Cornsweet one. But you know, trying to keep my expectations in check. Let's look a few of these super chats. I think what makes Pat. Oh no, we already did this. Sorry, tea time. David V900 and saying that a poignant moment between Martha and Lois makes Martha Martian Manhunter undercuts it completely. Makes Men of Steel worse too. Why didn't they help? Why didn't you help Martian Manhunter? I agree. It's stupid. It's not good.
It's there for the cut. Like it's there for people to like clap their hands. It's not about anything.
Tea Time 480, favorite modern Superman actor, not including David, since his movie hasn't come out yet. For me, it's Routh or Hecklin. They're way better than Cavill and Welling, in my opinion. Also, are you guys ranking these? Yeah, we just talked about it. I don't think we're going to, because again, it's like, I think Sal and I are in a similar boat where like 1, 2, and then the rest.
And then fill in the blank. I don't hate Hecklin. I like him a lot. I never liked Welling. That's it.
I was watching Smallville when I was in college, so that was like the right time to be watching that. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I like Hecklin. I don't like his. It's the same thing with Batfleck too. Actually, it's like I actually think Ben Affleck's a good Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah,
and I think Henry Cavill's a good Superman.
Yeah, I agree.
In better movies.
Yeah.
Anytime we give him moments to be like, hey, what if your Superman was like happy and charismatic? It's like that's you're cooking with something now. Like we talked about Black Adam. Like he comes in, he has the spit curl, and he's like, hey, we need to talk. It's like that's a Superman I'd watch.
Yeah. We're not getting a lot of that though.
We're not getting it. Excited for David Cornsweet. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's where things are happening, guys. Did I say this at the top, or did I say we're going to save it for later? Anyway,
you said we're going to save it.
I'm going to say it now. Krypton Academy is going to live on over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. I put up a poll over there, and by and large, the vote landed on us continuing to do Krypton Academy, covering Superman the Animated Series, which I am very excited to revisit. So for people, I know we had comments on BVS or one of these videos that was like, hey, no, do the Batman Superman crossover, the animated one. It's like, well, looks like we're going to get to it on the animated series. Like when we cover it, we'll cover it when it lands there. So if you like Krypton Academy, you want to keep hearing Sal and I talk about Superman, you can do that over at patreon.com /only stupid answers. However, if you're over here and you like coming in every month and seeing this show, we're going to keep doing that on my personal channel, youtube.com/DJ Talks Trash. But now this show is going to transition to Retroversity. And it's going to allow Sal and I to be a little bit more open to what we're talking about. I think the first one we're going to do, if I can find a version that he and I can watch, I think the first one we're going to do is that failed live action Justice League pilot from the 90s. I think because some of those characters, Guy Gardner's in that, Guy Gardner's in the new Superman movie. We just talked about Justice League, where it feels like a good transition point. But we're going to be talking about some lost superhero media. We could talk about the Blade movies. I mean, hell, we could go off superheroes. We could talk about Terminator. Maybe I'll throw out. You can do polls on your YouTube channel, right? Maybe I'll throw out a poll for you guys, and you guys can vote on what we're going to talk on. I want to do because I've never seen it. I want to do the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie.
Oh man, yeah,
stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back next month with more of that. Sal, where can the kids find what you're working on?
They swing by youtube.com/comicpop and Comicpop Returns, of course, where we have live podcasts every week.
Please go check that out. Also, while I'm talking, here's some assets that I pulled that I didn't put in the video, even though this is a visual medium. So whoopsie on me. I like this scene. Here's that. Oh, this is a good little group shot of the Justice League. There you go. Oh man, what a failed experiment this whole DC universe. Sal, I enjoyed talking about these movies with you. Same. I am looking forward to better things.
Me too. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to being excited and happy, and I'm seeing Superman this week. I know you are as well. I'm excited about that.
Yep. So we'll probably cover that for Krypton Academy once it's on. For people that are familiar with SyderVerse and Mutant Academy, we'll probably cover it once it's on demand, or once we can rent it. It's on video on demand or whatever, or we can own it. That way, it's easier for me to take notes and do that stuff as opposed to in the theater scribbling down. So check all that out. Last thing from Tea Time. Thank you for everybody in the super chat once again. Welling was so against flying and wearing the suit, and his Clark is so lackluster. I actually don't think it was Welling that was against it. I think it was the mandate from on high.
It was the mandate, but also I'm sure he hated it too. Like when Welling is in those Crisis movie or show, he's like, oh, I don't have powers anymore. I assume he was like, I don't want to do. I don't want to fly. I don't want to do any of that crap.
Yeah, and it's just crazy because that show went on 10 years. It was a long run show. Anyway, hey, listen. If you guys maybe once we're through the animated series, we'll do Smallville for the rest of our there's so many episodes of that show. We'd be doing it for the rest of our fucking lives. Anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.